June 12, 2025, Ahmedabad. A bustling metropolis, a hub of activity, soon to be the site of unimaginable tragedy. Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, prepared for its journey. A state-of-the-art aircraft carrying hopes and dreams across continents. But moments after takeoff, disaster struck. The aircraft crashed, shattering the aircraft's flawless safety record, a reputation built on years of engineering and rigorous testing. A dark day for aviation. The disaster was India's deadliest since 1996, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the potential for catastrophic loss. And Air India's first fatal hull loss in decades, a devastating blow to the airline's proud history and its commitment to safety. The Dreamliner, once a symbol of progress, a marvel of modern engineering and international collaboration, became a national tragedy, a scar on the collective memory of a nation, raising urgent questions about aviation safety, demanding answers and accountability from those responsible. The world watched in shock as news outlets around the globe broadcast the unfolding tragedy. As the story unfolded from the wreckage, piece by agonizing piece. A routine flight to London, filled with passengers anticipating reunions and new adventures, turned into chaos within seconds, a stark reminder of how quickly life can change. The aircraft plummeting into a densely populated area, amplifying the devastation and loss. The crash challenged our faith in modern air travel, a system we often take for granted, relying on its safety and efficiency, exposing the thin line between routine and catastrophe, the inherent risks that lie beneath the surface of every flight. The story of Flight 171 is not just about a failed machine, a complex system of metal and wires that malfunctioned, but about the lives lost, the families shattered, and the futures that will never be, and the questions that remain, lingering in the air like the smoke from the wreckage, demanding answers and closure. Flight 171 was a routine connection from Ahmedabad to London, scheduled to depart at 9:50 a.m. On board were 242 people, mostly Indian nationals, along with British, Portuguese and Canadian passengers. The aircraft, Vermont A&B, had served Air India since 2014 and was considered a reliable workhorse. Air India's Dreamliner fleet was central to its international operations, trusted for safety and efficiency. That morning, nothing seemed amiss as passengers settled in and the crew prepared for takeoff. No one could have imagined the catastrophe about to unfold. The journey was meant to be routine, a testament to modern aviation. Instead, Flight 171 became synonymous with tragedy. The takeoff of Flight 171 began like any other commercial flight, a seemingly ordinary event. Passengers settled in, anticipating their journey, unaware of the impending tragedy. Engines roared with immense power, propelling the aircraft down the runway, faster and faster. The vibrations intensified as the plane accelerated, building up to takeoff speed. Moments after liftoff, the initial climb seemed normal, the aircraft gracefully ascending into the sky. But this sense of normalcy was about to be shattered. Disaster struck with terrifying speed. The aircraft inexplicably lost altitude instead of continuing its climb. A sudden and unexpected malfunction threw the flight into chaos. The pilots fought desperately against the failing aircraft, their training and experience pushed to the absolute limit. Every alarm blared, every light flashed, signaling the severity of the situation. They issued a mayday call, urgently reporting a critical loss of power to air traffic control, hoping for guidance and assistance in their desperate struggle. The Dreamliner, heavy with fuel for its intended long-haul flight, became increasingly difficult to control as it fought against gravity. The stricken aircraft simply couldn't stay airborne, its lift insufficient to overcome the forces pulling it down. It descended rapidly, veering off course and heading towards the densely populated Meganinagar neighborhood. The ground rushed up to meet them. At 13:39 IST, just 30 seconds after takeoff, the flight's tragic fate was sealed. Time seemed to slow as the inevitable drew closer. The jet crashed with devastating force into the BJ Medical College hostel, a place of learning and residence for students. The impact triggered a massive explosion and an inferno, engulfing the building and the surrounding area in flames. The force of the crash and subsequent fire devastated both the aircraft, reducing it to scattered wreckage, and the building, leaving a scene of utter destruction. Eyewitnesses watched in horror, their faces etched with disbelief and terror as the unthinkable unfolded before their eyes. They could only watch, helpless, as the jet failed to climb and plummeted into the heart of the city, a metal bird falling from the sky. In half a minute, a mere 30 seconds, an entire flight and countless lives were irrevocably changed. A routine departure had become one of India's worst aviation disasters, a scar on the nation's collective memory. The crash left behind a scene of unimaginable devastation and a host of unanswered questions, demanding a thorough and transparent investigation. Of the 242 souls on board that fateful flight, each with their own stories and destinies, 241 perished, their lives tragically cut short in an instant. The impact was devastating, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable destruction. This tragedy extended beyond the aircraft, joined by at least 29 more on the ground, innocent bystanders caught in the path of destruction. Among those were 5 bright and promising medical students, their futures full of hope and potential, now extinguished. Amid the devastation and chaos, one story stood out as a beacon of hope amidst the despair. Vishwaskumar Ramesh, a British citizen who was seated in seat 11A near the front of the plane, miraculously survived against all odds, defying the grim statistics of the crash. He managed to escape the burning wreckage, a harrowing ordeal that tested the limits of human endurance. He became the sole survivor, a living witness to the tragedy, carrying the weight of the event and the memory of those lost. Emergency services rushed to the scene with sirens blaring, a race against time to save lives and contain the unfolding disaster. Firefighters bravely battling the raging fires that consumed the remains of the aircraft, a scene of intense heat and smoke. Rescue workers tirelessly searching through the debris, clinging to the hope of finding more survivors amidst the chaos and destruction. But as time passed, hopes faded quickly, replaced by the grim reality of the situation. The scale of destruction became clear from the aerial view, a vast field of debris stretching across the landscape, a stark reminder of the lives lost. The final toll, a number that would forever be etched in the memory of the nation. Over 270 lives lost, a devastating blow to families, friends, and communities around the world. Among them were students full of dreams and aspirations, doctors dedicated to healing and saving lives, families torn apart by the sudden and unexpected loss, and travelers embarking on journeys that would never be completed. Ramesh's survival is a rare glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming tragedy, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. But it's overshadowed by the immense loss and the profound grief that gripped the nation. The 5 medical students killed, their lives brimming with potential, were on the verge of careers dedicated to saving others, a future stolen from them and the patients they would have served. A cruel irony that underscored the senselessness of the tragedy. The aftermath was about more than just clearing the physical wreckage. It was about healing the wounds of a community. It was about comforting the grieving families, offering support and solace in their darkest hour. And it was about making sense of the tragedy, seeking answers and striving to prevent such a disaster from ever happening again. The city and the world mourned together, sharing in the collective grief and offering condolences to those affected. United in grief, they stood together, remembering the lives lost and honoring their memory. With rescue efforts over, the investigation began. India's AAIB led the probe, joined by US and British experts. The flight data recorder was quickly recovered, offering vital clues about the final seconds. The cockpit voice recorder, however, remained missing, leaving a gap in understanding the crew's actions. Investigators focused on the engines, flaps, and landing gear, especially after the pilot's mayday about lost power. Early evidence suggested the emergency power system, the ram air turbine, had deployed, pointing to a severe systems failure. The investigation now centered on a possible cascade of failures, not just a simple engine problem. The search for answers had only just begun. The crash triggered immediate action from regulators. India's DGCA ordered enhanced checks on all Dreamliners with similar engines and considered grounding the entire fleet. These measures aimed to restore public confidence and ensure safety. A high-level committee was formed to investigate every possible cause, mechanical, human, and regulatory. The committee also reviewed procedures and recommended new safety guidelines. Boeing and GE sent teams to assist as the global Dreamliner fleet came under scrutiny. Airlines worldwide began precautionary checks, highlighting the far-reaching impact of the crash. The incident was a stark reminder. Even the most advanced jets require constant vigilance. The crash of Flight 171 is a sobering lesson for aviation. Inspections cleared most Dreamliners, But the tragedy exposed the need for relentless operational diligence. The investigation highlighted not just technical issues, but the importance of crew training and maintenance culture. 14 years of Dreamliner safety ended in seconds, underscoring the danger of complacency. The findings will shape new directives, better training, and more resilient systems. The hope that the loss of over 270 lives leads to real improvements in global aviation safety. From tragedy comes the obligation to learn and improve. The memory of Flight 171 must drive the industry toward a safer future.